Welcome back. You're in the War Room. It's Saturday, the 14th of September, the year of our Lord 2020. Very important day here in this entire fight. Now we have a gathering of the tribes here in Washington, D.C. Looks like a massive turnout for Stop the Steal and support President Trump. This rally of many, many different parties coming together to put this off, pull it off. Amy Kramer and her daughter doing yeoman's work of Women for Trump. Also, we have the new federal state of China and the whistleblower movement with Chinese diaspora. They're fighting for their freedom and have been pointing the finger for the Chinese Communist Party of what they've done with this with the CCP virus and also their intrusion in here into the election. And we'll hopefully put up later the great Lynn Wood, one of the top attorneys in the country, points in his Twitter feed. His Twitter feed could come right out of Miles Guo's weekly broadcast. He's pointing the finger directly at the CCP, the software, the component parts, everything. We're going to get to the bottom of it. Remember, we're going to go to Ben Bergquam here in a moment. As soon as we can get Ben. Ben is the great young reporter who's been doing such a great job out in Maricopa County in Arizona. Is now they're back into it. The GOP and is trying to get to not just a recount, but actually get to an audit and figure out what of these ballots are legal and what of these ballots are illegal. That's going to be the big fight in Pennsylvania. Lynn Wood has just dropped a major lawsuit in Georgia that goes back to this consent order. And basically, he's making a constitutional argument. State legislatures can do this. Executives in a state government and outside parties can't come to some agreement that just makes an agreement and then goes on. He's looking to basically invalidate the entire operation here, saying you can't do this. The mail-in ballots were not set up by the state legislature. I think this is going to be the argument in a bunch of these. This is what we say: go wholesale here. That our point from the day one is that if you can't certify, can't validate, and you can't look at chain of custody and chain of title of this mass of 65 million mail-in ballots, right? If they're legal and they're certifiable, they have to count. If you can't, then they can't count. And if the Secretary of State can't certify it, and the state legislatures can't certify it, it's not the end of the world, folks. Remember, on this show back in July, we talked to you about the Transition Integrity Project. We talked to you exactly how they were going to steal this election. I went around the country and gave, with Rahim as my opening act, Vish Burr setting it up to all these groups throughout the country, the plot to steal 2020. That was back in August and September. What did we talk about? The lawfare part of this. It was all about the mail-in ballots. It was all about the CCP virus, all about traumatizing with this mass hysteria from the media, traumatizing their base. What Jack Maxey said, the reason they had this thing come up in March in Georgia was the problem in the primaries. The reason we really super got focused on this was in New York City, in Brooklyn, 30% of the ballots were not certifiable, 25% or 20% in know-it-all Manhattan. Right now, we can't get to that number. In Pennsylvania, 2.6 million mail-in ballots. We can't get to a number of what was kicked out and what's not. What's the kill ratio? They had projected the kill ratio, and this is why the left went so nuts on the naked ballots, on the ballot, the envelope inside the other envelope. It was Chris Hayes and Rachel Maddow that melted down, as they should have melted down, because they knew 10%, 15% of that was going to be kicked out as not valid. Where is it? It's like it's zero right now. In Georgia, it was 3.5% in the Stacey Abrams throwdown, knockdown, drag out with Kemp for governor. It's 0.5% now. It's half of 1%. It's just not mathematically. That's what pattern recognition and all this stuff is coming in with analysis. If we got Ben, let's go to Ben Bergquam. I'll get off my soapbox for 1 second. We'll go to Ben Bergquam live down at Freedom Plaza in Washington, D.C. on Pennsylvania Avenue, right near the Treasury and Trump Hotel. Ben, can you hear us, sir?
I got you, Steve. Yes, sir.
So give us a sense of the size of the crowd. Give us a sense of enthusiasm. What exactly is going on in Washington today?
It's huge, guys. We're still an hour away. We walked down here. Actually, we tried to drive down here, and we had to park 5 blocks away. And I couldn't believe it. It was 2 hours out then. Now we're still an hour out. And I want to have my cameraman just raise up the camera and just give you an aerial shot here of just how big this is. I mean, we're here, if you know where Freedom Plaza is, we're just off the White House. And let's get a whole turn. We got some huge American flags back, the blue flags down here that are going to be marching down to the White House and to the Capitol. They're going to try to go around the White House. You can see the Capitol off in the distance. I don't know how many people are going to be out here, but it is going to be, I don't know if we're going to get to the million, but it's going to be an amazing turnout. And the crowd is pumped. They're from all over the country. They've come in. They are chanting, "Stop the steal." They do not believe this election was legitimate. They believe that President Trump won, and once we count all the legal votes, we'll find that out. America will find that out. And in fact, I've got one of those guys with me right here, Dion Cini. Speaking of those flags right here, Dion,
yes,
from New York. You're one of the public enemy number 3, I would say. There's a few of them out there.
I'm probably the most banned man in America, banned Trump supporter in America. I'm pretty much banned from everything.
What do you expect we're going to see today?
Love, love. We're not going to see any violence unless somebody gets crazy on the left side, but we're just going to see love and just do what we do. We support our president. It's a miraculous thing to do. So.
And what do you think at the end of this? What's the turnout or the outcome going to be?
I don't know. It's a coin toss. Hopefully we find out all the corruption. It's going to be exposed, but if not, we're going to support the president either way, no matter what happens. So that's what we do.
Yeah. Trump 2020, Trump 2024.
Yes, absolutely. It'll give us something to do for 4 years. That's I'm kind of not really hoping. No, we cannot let them. Yeah. We cannot let them have power in any way, shape, or form.
If we allow this election to be corrupted, we lose the republic.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's it. The only and then if we lose the Senate, that's it. C'est la vie. Yeah. So we got to keep him in.
Steve.
Yeah, Ben. This is the question I've got: is that the attitude of the crowd? Is it? Because all of a sudden, you have Geraldo Rivera and other people that claim friendship for the president, but they're always drafting off the president. You see them saying, "Oh, I had a very sensitive comment to him and a very sensitive talk." I want to make sure, in your perspective, the crowd's perspective, is this part of a process to let the president start feeling better about this, and that there's always another day, and you can run in 2024, and this movement continues on, or is this the throwdown that we're not backing up an inch? And that we can't to lose this is to actually end the republic as we know it. What do you think the attitude of the crowd is?
Yeah, I think it's the latter of the two. I think no matter what, they're going to fight continuing. So if the fraud stands, this is what I hear over and over and over. If they get away with the steal, they're going to fight to 2022 and 2024, and they're going to continue on. But they want to see this overturned now. They want to see it go all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court overturn it. How many here believe, let me just get a quick little poll, everyone around me, how many of you believe that President Trump won and that he is going to be our president for 4 more years? Raise your hand if you agree.
Absolutely.
President Trump won and he's going to be our president for 4 more years.
Damn right.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're hearing all over out here. They believe he won. They believe Biden's trying to steal it. But I'm also hearing if they get away with the steal, it's just the beginning of a much bigger fight.
Ben, for our radio audience and for our podcast, understand this is a massive crowd now. I think far beyond expectation, at least this early. It's an hour before it really starts. Has already congregated. Jack, because I want Ben to pull some more people out and do some more interviews there.
Yeah, Ben, I was just curious. Were you on station when the president came by in his motorcade about 45 minutes ago? How was the reaction for the crowd?
I wasn't. We were still trying to get here. All the streets were blocked off. We were probably 4 blocks away at that point, and we heard a huge uproar. And then we found out that it was the president driving through. But actually, Dion, the gentleman I was just interviewing, was down here. And he said the motorcade let people come right up to the car. They were like, hitting on the car saying, "We support you." So it was wild. I haven't confirmed this yet. They never confirm it. But that may be happening again at least one more time today. So we'll hopefully be here for that one.
Ben, if we could do this, we're going to now talk about Lynn Woods. We got some stuff to discuss here. What we'd love to do, if I can get Denver to keep the footage, keep the live. I want to see the crowd for our audience. But Ben, if you can, while we break away from you, if you could select some people, we would love to get some more interviews by you of the folks that are there, because you did such an incredible job out in Phoenix. We really want to get the sense of the crowd and their perspective. So let's keep the footage on that shows this massive crowd, and I want to come back here into the studio, and we'll go back to Ben as soon as we got it. Ben Bergquam of
Sounds
Real
good.
America's Voice, doing a fantastic job. One of the best young field reporters out there of getting information. We've had him at the wall. He's been out in Maricopa County, just incredible. We're going to continue. We're going to continue. We don't need the shots here. Let's go. I want to do the full shot on the screen on the crowd, because that's the important thing, not us. Look at that. For our radio audience, you should understand it's really a gathering of the tribes today here in Washington, D.C. It's a massive crowd at Freedom Plaza, which is right down by the Treasury Department, I think near 14th Street, and right near Trump Hotel. There's going to be, I think, some speakers down there today. They're supposed to officially kick off at noon, and then they're going to go. They're going to march up. They say they may go take a loop around the White House. I don't know if the Park Police quite have that worked out, but it's a very friendly group. They may do a loop around the White House to show support for the president, and then they're going to march up, eventually get up to the Capitol and to the Supreme Court. I think they're scheduled to be right outside the Supreme Court, I think on 2nd Street right over there. And it's going to be, it looks like a massive crowd, I think far bigger than a lot of people, because this kind of came together at the last second. We're also going to go down to, we've got some of the people at the new federal state of China. Are they available right now? Who do we have on? Alice. Oh, we have Alice. We have Alice from the new federal state and the whistleblower movement. Can we go? There's a simultaneous, there's many things happening around the city. There's a couple of others that are here. We've got the new federal state of China, and the whistleblower movement actually has their own protest, and they're there to support the president, support democracy in America, to support the rule of law, but also to point out the CCP and the Chinese Communist Party's involvement in all this, everything from the virus to our election. And these are freedom fighters. This is the diaspora. I want to go to Alice now. Can we bring the photos up of the new federal state onto the screen? Fantastic! Wow, Alice, thank you very much for joining us today on War Room. Okay, we're trying to get Alice. We haven't. Hey, Alice, how you doing?
Hi, Mr. Bannon. I'm doing great. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. It's fantastic. We definitely got some music in the background. That's okay. Tell us, what are you guys trying to accomplish today down there?
We're going to tell American patriots the evil Chinese Communist Party has done to the world and how they infiltrated the U.S. And we support fair and legal elections. We support President Trump. We represent Chinese Americans and Chinese in mainland China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and the rest of the world.
Alice, if you can hang on for a second, we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to return down to the Sylvan Theater. It's an outdoor theater down by the Washington Monument. You have the new federal state of China, the whistleblower movement, all inspired by Miles Guo and others that have become a main supporter of President Trump and really freedom in the United States, and point out the CCP. I want to make sure. Okay, I want to keep on the footage of these rallies. I don't need the audience doesn't need to see me. They see enough of me. So let's make sure Denver's in sync. I always want to keep a rally, either the one down at Freedom Plaza or the new federal state. Here, I'm getting back to my director mode, picking shots, right? So, since I've told Vish enough, and clearly I'm not getting, I don't need a split screen of us. I don't need, what I need is just there we go. Footage is amazing. People that are Trump supporters have just really got to feel great. This was spontaneous. This is self-organizing. This is the 96-mile caravan in Arizona. It's the 30,000 Hispanics and Latinos coming to protest the communism rule. You've got, as Jack Maxey says, look at the Republic of Vietnam flags. Look at the new federal state flags. These are people that have been under the boot of communism. We're going to return to all of it in the War Room, Capitol Hill next.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
It is Diwali, and that in the Hindu faith is the festival of light, the forces of light versus darkness, and you're seeing the forces of light on the streets of Washington, D.C. today, the nation's capital, which has been home to many, many, many protests, many outpouring in the couple of hundred years we've been at this. And today you're seeing a gathering of the tribes of the Trump movement in support of the President of the United States. As Jack Maxey says, you see a lot of Republic of Vietnam flags out there. There's a side protest all day long down by the Washington Monument of the new federal state of China and the whistleblower movement. And these are part of the diaspora that have lived under the boot of the Chinese Communist Party. And these people are down there to warn the United States exactly what's in store for them. And they're sitting there saying, and remember, the Chinese intelligence, every time these things go on, when they were outside the embassy that day, Jack, with you, Chinese intelligence down there taking their pictures, right? They're taking their pictures, taking names, and getting back to their families. That's why they always come on here, most of them with nom de guerres, right, to try to protect that. We got huge breaking news, Mr. Greg Manns, and you started this back in War Room Impeachment, the Dirty 30. Remember those 30 swing districts that went for Obama twice, went for Trump in 16, right? That was so key, and you got a scalp today.
Yep, exactly. In Utah's 4th congressional district, Burgess Owens has emerged victorious over Ben McAdams. So we've got a genuine patriot coming to Washington, D.C. to serve in the United States House of Representatives.
Here's the great thing about this gathering of the tribes. You know, Burgess Owen is a convert to the Mormon religion, a man of tremendous faith. You've got Dave Ramaswamy and the Modi crowd, the Hindu Americans were celebrating and commemorating Diwali, the Festival of Lights Day. You've got many Buddhists down at in the Chinese with the federal state. Also, many members of Falun Gong. You got house Christians. You got underground Catholics. This is whatever your religion, whatever your race, whatever your ethnicity, it's coming together today. It's unlike what the mainstream media wants to portray it. It's not just a bunch of crackers, right? This is a movement of intense diversity and getting more diverse every day. This is why they have to destroy Donald Trump. This is why they have to steal this election. They can't sit there and accept that 47% of the Hispanics in Florida are going to vote for Donald Trump. The thing that got them scared is when they saw that, and remember, this is all self-organizing. There's no money in back of this. I think it was like $10,000. They got the park permit and put up some stuff. The website's already been taken down. I think they had a DDoS attack, right? This is Amy Kramer and the people doing that. If we can go back, what I want to do, and there's a little music playing in the background, but it's celebratory, so I love it. I want to go down Vish and the guys in Denver. If we can get Alice back from the new federal state, if we can get back to the Chinese, and this is down by the Washington Monument, the whole city today. Brandon Strzok was here. Tomorrow, the Walkaway is going to have their own celebration. So this is just an incredible outpouring of support for the president. Want to go to, is that Alice or that to the main? Alice, do we have you down at the new federal state and whistleblowers?
To keep you updated, to get more knowledgeable. G-News.
Can you walk us through? What's going to go on down there today in your protest and in your event? Tell us what or you're going to be down there all afternoon. What is going to go on?
We'll be here the whole day. We're going to have a flag raising ceremony, and we'll have some speech, and we'll have inviting several key speakers to connect with us online. And we're going to chant our slogans. We also have LED trucks running in the city. Sorry, it's very noisy here. But the energy here is amazing. Many American patriots, they're Trump supporters. They're excited to hear about our story. They said that we're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Alice, fantastic. We're going to come back. Look at that. We're going to stick to your photos, and we're going to come back to the protest down with the new federal state. Alice, thank you very much for joining. We're going to come back to you in a little while to maybe in a music break. We know we got Miles Guo's top songs playing down there. Also, we want to thank Alice. We're going to come back to the new federal state. It's amazing to see that flag down there, see the diaspora. We're now cutting back to you see our footage. We're looking at this protest. I guess it's not a protest. I guess it's a day of support for the president and for what's going on here. And absolutely, I would tell you, I think the size of this crowd is going to shake people up because they weren't anticipating anything this big or this joyous showing up here. So, can we go back to the crowd shot again? I don't know what I must not be speaking in the words of production. I want to have the crowd shot. I don't need to have the war room. Let's just have our voices over it. I want to get updated. So Jack, a couple things. We didn't have enough time yesterday to really go through. I don't know if you got the Dominion Systems thing up, but I think it's very important you go back through. And I want to play Linwood stuff later. This Dominion system is going to actually be a very big deal. The software part of it, the component part of it, how it got purchased, particularly with the devastating report from the state of Texas. We want our listeners to be up to speed. You found something that was pretty shocking, that the Democrats, right? And remember, a lot of this is coming back to haunt the Democrats. This consent order down in Georgia, which could be the linchpin of this lawsuit, that consent order is about the Democrats, right? It's a deal with the Democrats. The initial warnings on the Dominion system looks like it's coming from Democrats. You got major senators. So let's go back through what you found and how important this is.
Yeah, and Steve, the reason why we're going back and looking back at some of the questions of the past is to highlight the lack of questions in the present. So as early as less than a year ago, you had Elizabeth Warren, you had Amy Klobuchar, you had Ron Wyden, all asking very pointed questions of the three private equity companies that own the three major voting systems in this country, one of which is Dominion, the one that has been in the news of late because of multiple failures that we've seen across the country, or at least have been alleged to have been seen. That's for the Twitter Reich out there if you're listening. Now, they sent this letter all the way back in December 6th of 2019, and they reference multiple articles from the AP, from Vox, from other sources, all describing the potential for the Dominion systems and others to be hacked, to be insecure, etc. We backed this up with the Department of State, Secretary of State of Texas, who did a full test of the Dominion's platform just a year ago as well. They've done this test apparently 4 or 5 times. These guys are masters at trying to sell this. For example, I believe Georgia spent $400 million of your taxpayers' money getting these systems online down there. So there's some huge questions, and I would just be very curious to know what the answers that Ms. Klobuchar and Ms. Warren got from these private equity companies.
We're running out of time with Ben. We're going to get back to Jack on this in a second. Let's go back to Freedom Plaza in Washington, D.C., Ben Bergquam from Real America's Voice. Ben, can you hear us, sir? Ben, do you have us?
Hey, Steve. Yeah, I got you.
So give us a
Sorry about that. It's pandemonium out here. So
that's great. Give us a sense of the crowd and the size of this thing.
Well, it's tens of thousands already. Let's get a pan real quick up. And again, we're still a half an hour away from the main event. And Steve, you asked the question about where people, are with the Supreme Court, how far they should take this, how far they're willing to fight to take it. I've got a couple guys here to talk to. Watch the cord here real quick. Sorry about that. And what was your name again, sir?
It's Jason.
Jason. So you were saying that. What was your thought about that?
So when you asked the question, I was like, of course. When our forefathers decided how we were going to govern this country, they designed the Supreme Court for exact moments like this. Like, it's being stolen right now. There's all this corruption going on. They're not letting the people, anybody view the ballots. You see guys on CNN crying about character. If you don't have integrity, you don't have any character. This is insane. This is what the Supreme Court was made for.
And you want to see it go all the way there?
Absolutely.
You believe President Trump will win once it gets there?
Absolutely. Awesome. How could he not?
Yeah.
You can't let that happen.
Thank you, sir. I got one more here. My friend Justin from California. Thank you, sir. Now, you're from California. We've been rocking this. You got the red accents in the hair. What do you think about what's happening? How far should President Trump take this?
Well, you should take this all the way to the Supreme Court, as far as he can win. I think what's going on is that everyone is they're dealing with their cognitive dissonance. One side of the country claims that Biden won, but they kind of know he didn't win. It's like he's like the O.J. Simpson of today, where everyone knows he's guilty, but they just kind of want him to win anyway, just to get back at the other side. So right now, I mean, this side is like pretty much waking everyone else to the murder that the Democrats are getting with, of course, with abortion and also with the finances that are trying to destroy the economy. And, people would try to say, oh, well, this is all conspiracy. But I feel like COVID was injected in America to just bring us down underneath China and the rest of the countries so that we can fall behind them and also, continue their gravy train. And right now, it just seems like everyone is against Trump because he's stopping their gravy train. And just this crowd is evidence of the fraud. I mean, you did not see this kind of energy for the other side, and force anyone to kind of deny the reality. You have to be dishonest with yourself. You have to. And at the same time, I kind of feel sorry for the other side because all they know is what the media tells them or what the media allows them to know.
I can't say it any better than that, Steve.
Now I want to introduce the new co-host for War Room. We've just
I just lost my job.
The new War Room co-host, Justin Wilson. Wilson, right?
Yeah, Justin Wilson.
Yeah. I know. I was thinking the exact same thing.
No,
when he was talking. I'm like, this is this little Steve Bannon?
Yeah, no, get his contact information. He hit everything. Justin, fantastic. We're to commercial break. Come back to you, Ben.
To the end, just watch and see. It's all started, everything's begun, and you are over.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, we're live in the War Room on Capitol Hill. It's where the big celebration and support for President Trump is going to end up here today at the nation's capital and in front of the Supreme Court. I don't know if they're going to be handling that crowd because let me tell you, it is absolutely massive. I think it far exceeds any expectations, and the simple reason is another self-organizing operation. Literally no money, just put the word out. Social media trying to shut it down all the time. Eventbrite. Actually not only took down the site, they actually sent an email out that was a lie. Sent an email out that said the thing was canceled. Eventbrite, I want you to look at. Can we get the shots back up and just the shots of the crowd from Ben Bergquam? They're setting up. Okay, Real America's Voice is setting up for their live coverage at noon, so they've got to get Ben situated. And you'll be able to see at noon. Just stay right here on Real America's Voice. You'll be able to see everything for this rally today. Pretty extraordinary. The last young man, Justin, already the hashtag War on Pandemic in the live stream is already promoting Justin for his run for Congress in 2022. I got to tell you what was so impressive. He hit every major element. I mean, everything from injecting the CCP virus, the COVID virus, to they don't want to get off the gravy train. I mean, he gets it. The whole thing is pretty amazing. A man in the street interview, and a guy just turns there and just bang, 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 bang. That's what I'm saying. If you provide information to the deplorables, there's the most unstoppable force on earth, right? And that's why the whole reason they're trying to destroy Trump is to make sure the deplorables don't have a seat at the table.
One of the things that struck me when they interviewed all these people and watching the crowd and really watching this movement, and one of the fellows said it, I think both of them said it, when you look at our opposition, there's always anger. They're always screaming. They're always breaking windows, setting police cars on fire. They're full of anger and spite. When you look at our team, well, several people today said, what's this all about? This is about love. This is a movement based upon love of country, love of our history, love of our Constitution, love of our president, and love of our way of life. We are not going to let this fall through our fingers.
See, this is what's so important about what you're saying. They're looking at this today, and they thought there'd be a bunch of angry guys come up with the guns and everything like that. What they're seeing is an immovable force. This is positive. You know what's positive? We got this. It's happening, right? That's pure confidence right there. Hey, we don't need to be angry. We're going to be focused. We're not going to back up an inch. If we got to come to the nation's capital on the spur of the moment and bring tens of thousands of people, we'll do it. If we're part of the diaspora, the Chinese want to come down and have a rally, we'll do it. If we're part of the Brandon Strock group will do it, right? Have our own thing. We'll do it. We'll do all of it. And so that is why this is so powerful. They're looking out there today and seeing positive. And trust me, CNN is not. They're going to be doing de minimis coverage, or the crowd size was like 2,000 or something like that, right? They don't want to see the reality, and the reality is people are not going to back down, right? And they don't need to be spitting mad. Internally, they're mad. We're mad here, right? Because we're the war room. But you're seeing people that are just they have a righteous indignation, to quote Andrew, the title of Andrew Breitbart's book. I mean, Greg, you've been involved in politics a lot. If I'm an establishment Republican, this is the Tea Party on steroids, right? I've been saying there's a great, what happened and was so brilliant about what you guys did on the campaign towards the end was let this great awakening take it to the next level, right? It wasn't a traditional presidential campaign. It was something was happening. Something was forming. That's why I keep saying something's aborting, right? Something's aborting here. And you got Barack Obama's new book out, saying the Tea Party was all racist. You got Charles Koch saying, "Oh, I'm so upset with myself that I support it." People do understand that the roots of this are back for populism, the Ross Perot movement, a lot of it, but obviously accelerated. But now it's to another level. And it's only, and this is for the audience, this is why your force multiplier right now is just share on social media every way you can all the information, not just the War Room. We're greatly appreciative of your support, and we will always be here to make sure you get information and make yourself the smartest person in the room. But it's a share all of it, because there's a great awakening going on. And in classic politics, that's why I think you're seeing the state General Assembly guys stepping up and saying, "Hey, you know what? There's got to be a real count here."
Yeah, and to that point, in Lynn Wood's interview with Howie Carr, he brought up that point that as this moves towards the state legislatures, they are going to be held accountable by their constituents in their actions right now in the next coming weeks as they go up for re-election and are held accountable for what they're doing currently.
I want to go. Do we have Alice? We're going to go back to the. This is a protest put on spontaneously by the diaspora, the Chinese that have left China, that have come here to the United States. They're huge President Trump supporters, and the reason is very simple. He's anti-CCP, right? He's confronted the Chinese Communist Party. Let's go down. Alice, do you have us? We're trying to get Alice on here. Many of the people down there keep their faces covered, not just for the
of America,
not just for the COVID.
Washington D.C. In front of the Washington Monument, just like General Washington and the forefathers of America fought for this country's democracy and freedom. We'll be back soon.
That's the speaker, I think. Is that Prince? Our guy Prince up there?
Yes, that's Prince.
Boy, that's very powerful,
Yeah.
Alice. So tell us what's going on today.
We came from. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you fine. Yep.
Yes, great. We will stay here a whole day until the evening. We represent the new federal state of China. It's a new China without the Chinese Communist Party. We're going to take down the Chinese Communist Party. We're telling American patriots, CCP has infiltrated America with unrestricted warfare. American patriots, stand up. This is the time to defend your democracy. Freedom is not free. And we support legal and a fair election. So we're here to support President Trump. We also have an LED truck running in the city to deliver our message to all the Americans.
We're hearing the music of the new federal state and the whistleblower movement. Miles Grove. I tell you what, Alice, I think you guys are going to get a noise citation down there. Thank you, Alice. Thank you very much. Can we keep the footage down there? We've got a number of protests in support for President Trump. Brandon Strock and the walkaway movement is going to have theirs tomorrow. We've got the new federal state of China, the whistleblower movement, having one down by the Washington Monument at Sylvan Theater anyone that's interested can go down and participate in that. And they've got all types of stuff, anti-CCP, talking about the virus, et cetera. Then we have the massive pro-Trump, which I think is much bigger than anybody anticipated, Jack. This kind of spontaneous outpouring. And, politicians have got to take this have got to tell you, look at that shot of New Federal State with the New Federal, for a radio audience, it's absolutely amazing. You see Chinese Americans out there with this flag of this kind of government that they want to form, that's going to be a democracy, going to have rule of law, that they're fighting for to take down the CCP. But you just see the American flag and see the love and the outpouring. Jack, I know in the summer you were down with this crowd. The first time they really came forward to the Chinese embassy, and remember, the Chinese embassy sitting there with the intelligence guys taking everybody's picture.
Yeah, we were down there. We went out in front of the Chinese embassy, which you can't understand symbolically how important that location is for mainland Chinese people, right? This is their embassy inside Washington, D.C., and these brave patriots went out there and waved their flags. They condemned Chairman Xi. They condemned the evil of the CCP. They extolled the virtues of religion, free speech, all the things that we take for granted. And the courage, Steve, it was very inspiring to see little old ladies, right, who had left everything behind. And they're coming here and they know and they're afraid. They can't always talk to you, but they're there. And they want people to know that this world has to change, or we're going to suffer under the same evil system that they escaped. I hear it so many times from my Cuban friends down in Florida. If America falls, there's no place left to go. We are the last hope for this planet, and we have to stand fast for our values. And every single American, and we're seeing it right now, you're watching this division between joy, light, and anger and darkness. Every American has to start worrying about their own, however they define it, their own mortal self, because all of us are on the line here. This is no different than the 30s when we began to see the rise of Nazism and Hitler in Germany. We are watching the same march of oppression occur inside China. And what's even more frightening, Steve, we talked about it the other day, the whole notion of perverted science, as Churchill called it, allowing this system to not only exist for a longer period of time, but to be harsher in its effectiveness.
Just for our radio audience, you see the crowd down at the New Federal State. You got the blue New Federal State flag and the American flag. I want to bring up something when they had their first protest. They went down later in the day. They started which is quite, dramatic and had never been protested for by free Chinese. You then go to, you guys later in the day, you followed and went down to the Blackwood is across from St. John's Church, because they wanted to go and scrub St. John's Church, all the graffiti off there, the Black Lives Matter and Antifa had put up there in the Hay Adams Hotel. They sat down there in 90-degree heat and humidity, and they took the cold waters to the police. I mean, the polite, and they were remember, they were policing their area. They were cleaning up. They didn't leave one speck of anything there. And I said, that's a new America, right? That is what this country means to the world, but it's also how this country's taking it up to the next level. You see, these people have never had freedom, have been under the boot of oppression. It's like Eastern Europe during the Soviet Union. You see this now with Hispanics in South Florida. You're seeing it with Chinese and Asians here, that they've lived under these totalitarian dictatorships. They are so polite, they're so nice, they appreciate freedom, and they appreciate the civic and social order that goes with that. They're the exact opposite of Antifa. If that day you were down there, they're asking the police officers, you want to have a cold water? What can we do to help?
And what was also sad is there were several sort of progressive activists who came up and harassed them. One of them particularly was a middle-aged white woman who came up and told them they had no right to be there. This was a Black Lives Matter corner, and screaming at an old Chinese lady. And I was like, are you serious?
Karen was there?
This wasn't even Karen. This was more like the Pasionara from the Spanish Revolution. This, the classic,
Boy, look at this! I tell you what, if you
don't want to say more,
we
have to be careful these days, Steve. We're being watched.
If you're on Real America's Voice or Newsmax or besides the John Frederick and the podcast, the visuals we have today are some of the most moving visuals we have had the entire time we've been doing the show. You've got now this protest with the Chinese, which is 5 times bigger than I thought it was going to be. I mean, it's massive. And you've got these blue flags of a new China with the American flag. These young Chinese that are out there talking about liberty, talking about the rule of law, and warning America about the Chinese Communist Party. Down in Georgia, we started the show about Lynn Wood and the warnings of Lynn Wood, the great lawyer down in Georgia that's put in a lawsuit, by the way, not from the campaign, not from Donald Trump. He's doing it as an American citizen in federal court. Okay, we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to return. We've got a gathering of tens of thousands already here in Washington, D.C. to support the president. We got gatherings of thousands of Chinese from the diaspora to support the American people. We've got Brandon Strzok and others from the Walkaway Movement, former Democrats. This is a gathering of people looking for freedom that are not going to back down. They're going to secure the victory that came on November 3rd. Greg Manns, Jack Maxey, Vish Burr, Stephen K. Bannon will return in the War Room in a moment.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
I think of all the great shows that we've done and how big this show has gotten throughout the world, I think this is probably the most important show, one of the most important shows we've done, because we've seen such an outpouring of positive energy. And the positive energy is going to come from the righteousness of our cause. Right? We're never going to back down. We're never going to throw in the towel. We're never going to quit. We're going to close on the great victory of November 3rd. And here's the reason. The flag officers that sent that letter in support of President Trump, I think 2 months ago, Tom Hayward, who I work for, Chief of Naval Operations, and other great patriots that had fought, I think, every war since Korea, right, said that this is the most important election in the history of the Republic, because we're going to be one thing or the other thing on the side of this. We have said from day one, it's the most important election in 5,000 years of Chinese history. That's why the Chinese are out there, right? They understand that, and the world's totally interconnected. The America First movement, American nationalism, not that we're isolationists. President Trump's been more engaged in the Pacific and in Asia than any president in history, okay? Maybe not ever World War II, but let's put that aside for a second. But, and, I was a naval officer in the South China Sea.
Don't forget Truman.
And Truman, yeah, but I'm saying but Trump's been all over and so totally engaged. And we're not an isolationist movement, but we're a movement that looks for allies and looks for this alliance of democracy and alliance of freedom, right? And this is what it's about today. You're seeing a massive outpouring. Stay on Real America's Voice throughout the day. They're going to pick up live coverage at the end of our show. They're going to go back to Ben Bergquam, who's done such an amazing job down there at Freedom Plaza. There are tens of thousands of people already. You're seeing the footage from the sidebar protests of the diaspora of the Chinese people, right? And you're seeing that and this day is Diwali, the Festival of Lights with all our Hindu American colleagues. President Trump has commemorated that, I think, 4 times from the Oval Office. It's also a day of a resounding win for Burgess Owens, right? In modern football, one of the greatest players that have played in modern football, pro football. A convert to Mormonism and a man of deep and abiding faith. Just won in Utah. He's here in D.C. Hope to get him on the show on Monday. He's a magnificent leader, right? And you see all of these protests. You got the walkaway movement tomorrow. We had Brandon Strzok on here. Just an incredible crowd. And here's why. In the live stream, I want you to keep your comments, the hashtag War Pandemic, and in the live stream, they've just been so amazing. Here's the key point. The key point is that this is why what you're seeing today in the streets of Washington, what you're seeing with the diaspora of the Chinese, what you're seeing with Burgess Owens, what you're seeing with the 30,000, anti-communists, Latinos and Hispanics that self-organized, right? What you're seeing with people like Dave Ramaswamy and Jay Kansar and the Howdy Modi group in Diwali, this festival of light today that President Trump has supported and commemorated every year. You're seeing a coming together. It is a great awakening. It is a great awakening in the United States of America. There is no force on earth that can stop the deplorables. The British Empire at the top of their game, the greatest empire, probably even greater than the Roman Empire. The greatest empire on earth couldn't stop us in our revolution, right? The forces of evil, the forces that try to break up this nation, could not break up this mystical bond, these cords of memory from every patriot's grave. That the greatest nationalist we had, Abraham Lincoln, right, who built the Transcontinental Railroad, who did the Homestead Act, all of that. Okay, we're going to now, I want to finish with Rudyard Kipling's If, this magnificent film that was made for President Trump. Well, we do have 2 more minutes. When I say 2, I thought it was it. Okay, we've got 2 to that. Okay, we got a couple more minutes. We're going to end the show. We're going to bring it full circle. We're going to end the show today the way we started. Rudyard Kipling, as Jack said the other day, when they knew how to raise men. Look, one of the crises we have in this country is the raising of young men. I mean, there's no doubt that and you can see in the Antifa movie, you see that we have a crisis in how to raise young men. I think the raising of young girls, which were never a thing. My daughter and it's not because of me, it's because of her mom, trust me. But 101st Airborne, West Point, girls have gone through this transformation, I think, with sports and all this, that they've kind of sorted out that, but the young men have been a problem. Rudyard Kipling, we knew how to raise them then.
And something to think about as we listen to this Rudyard Kipling clip is Rudyard Kipling had one son. That son died on the Western Front in 1917.
He never got over it.
Never got over it. He wrote the regimental history, and for the rest of his life, Kipling was largely blamed for the spirit, that pre-World War I spirit of duty, honor, country, and he was somewhat of a broken man, but he never lost faith, and he never lost sight of the importance of patriotism and love of your country.
I tell you another guy who like Kipling, who was really never got over his son dying in World War I was Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt and Kipling both. Okay, we're going to finish with a magnificent little film that was made set to the poem of Rudyard Kipling's If. It is about our president, and I think it goes to the heart of one of the reasons we've thrown down so hard in back of this individual who represents the best of our movement.
If, by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but are none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And, which is more, you'll be a man, my son.